If she's silent right now, if your phone hasn't lit up in days, and you're stuck wondering what you did wrong, stop. This isn't about her pulling away. It's about whether you'll pull yourself together. Most men panic when she disappears. They text, they chase, they fall apart trying to make sense of her silence. But not you, because what you're about to hear will change how you handle every woman, every breakup, and most of all, yourself. This isn't some game to get her back. This is a strategy to never lose you again. Let's begin. So, if you're sitting there in the middle of that silence, wondering what it all means, let's start with the one truth most men never see coming. She hasn't called, hasn't messaged, hasn't liked a single thing you've posted. And the silence is echoing louder than any argument you've ever had. It's not just that she's not talking. It's that she's vanished into a space you can't reach. And every part of you wants to bridge that gap, to ask why, to fix it, to close the distance. But here's what you don't see yet. Her silence isn't the absence of interest. It's the presence of a test. She's not ignoring you. She's watching. She's watching who you become without her attention to validate your worth. She's watching whether you'll lose your center or hold your frame, whether your masculinity was anchored in her approval or it was forged in something deeper, something she doesn't control. See, when a woman pulls back, it's often not disappear, but to observe. She needs to know if the man she felt drawn to is still there when the spotlight fades, when the warmth is gone, and when the affection isn't flowing freely. She's not looking for a reaction. She's searching for revelation. Most men fail this part. They panic. They reach out too soon. They send long texts explaining everything. Or worse, they try to be clever, try to manipulate, try to draw her back with strategy. But a man of substance does not chase confusion. He doesn't perform to be seen. He simply remains, unshaken, unmoved, deeply rooted in who he is, not who she needs him to be in the moment. Because a man who needs to be reassured by her presence is a man who never really stood on his own. And the moment you chase her silence, the moment you scramble to fix what she never asked you to fix, you tell her something very clearly, that your strength is conditional, your calm is temporary, and your self-worth is still up for negotiation. But a man who recognizes a game for what it is, who sees that she's pulled back to assess the depth of his center, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't get bitter. He doesn't make it about revenge. He simply returns home to himself. He doubles down on his purpose. He lives. He breathes. He builds. And through his silence, he speaks. So don't get lost in wondering why she's quiet. Don't obsess over what she's doing, who she's with, or whether she's scrolling through your photos late at night. Instead, ask yourself, what does my stillness say? What does my presence echo when there's no one to witness it but me? Because while she may not be speaking, she is listening. And while she may not be showing up, she's watching. Not to see if you miss her, but to see if you can hold your ground without her. And once you realize that her silence isn't rejection, but observation, what you do next becomes everything. That's where the shaping begins. There's a moment, quiet and cruel, where you realize she's not reaching out. And no matter how many times you glance at your phone, nothing changes. You've typed a message a dozen times, only to erase it again. You tell yourself you're being strong by holding back, but inside, you're unraveling. That's where most men fall apart. They let the silence break them instead of letting it build them. But what if I told you this silence isn't your enemy? What if it's your forge? You see, discomfort reveals the architecture of your inner world. And right now, you're being invited, maybe even forced, to confront the parts of yourself that only surfaced when you had her voice, her affection, her validation. Who are you without her? That's the question echoing through the quiet. And the way you answer will determine not just your future with her, but the man you become regardless of her. This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about resisting the urge to collapse. It's about using the weight of absence to strengthen your frame, not break your back. Because while she's withdrawn, the real challenge isn't about what she's doing. It's about what you do when she's not there to watch. You've got two choices. You can stare at the silence, curse it, resent it, and let it drain you into emotional paralysis. Or you can rise. You can wake up earlier, train harder, work with more focus, reflect more deeply, You can reclaim the parts of you that you gave up trying to please her or keep her, or hold something together that maybe wasn't meant to be held in that moment. Most men think if they just wait long enough, she'll come back. But strong men know that if they just grow deep enough, they come back stronger. This time isn't about reattracting her. It's about remembering what you were before you started bending to make her comfortable. It's about becoming a man who doesn't just survive heartbreak. He transforms in it. You can let her silence be the crack in your armor, or you can let it be the reason you forge a stronger one. She stepped back. Let her. Now you step forward. Not toward her, but toward yourself. But holding still is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you stop reaching outward and finally return inward. There's a voice in your head whispering. Just one message, one check-in, one moment of vulnerability. And it sounds so rational, so gentle, because it dresses itself up as care, as honesty, as love. But beneath that softness is a craving for control, because reaching out right now isn't about connection. It's about relieving discomfort. And men who live by comfort rarely become anything worth remembering. She's gone silent. And maybe she's hoping you'll fill the gap with panic, with reaction, with weakness disguised as romance. But what she's not expecting, what will shake her frame more than anything, is your refusal to collapse, your choice to go inward instead of chasing outward, to choose stillness over scrambling, depth over desperation. That's not a tactic, it's power. No contact isn't something you do to get a reaction. It's something you live because you've outgrown the need to be seen in order to feel real. It's not silence for silence's sake. It's silence as a sacred boundary, as a declaration. I will not abandon myself just to be heard by someone who isn't listening. And I know it hurts. It hurts to feel like you're being forgotten. It hurts to wonder if your absence is even noticed. But you have to understand, the moment you break that silence out of fear instead of clarity, you've told her everything she needs to know, that you don't yet trust your own worth in the absence of her recognition. But when you hold the line, not to punish, not to manipulate, but to protect your dignity, you become rare. You become a man who doesn't just preach strength. He embodies it when no one is watching. And that kind of man, he doesn't have to chase. He doesn't have to beg. He doesn't even have to explain. His energy does the speaking. His restraint does the proving. So if the urge comes, because it will, take a breath, sit with it, let it wash over you like a wave, and then pass. Don't drown in it. Don't fight it. Just outlast it. Because the man who doesn't break in the silence becomes the one she can never forget. And even if she never comes back, you won't need her to. And as you begin to detach from a need to be seen, something deeper begins to rise. Your ability to remain grounded, even when everything around you starts to shake. When everything goes quiet, and the woman you once shared your days with becomes a ghost in your reality, you begin to feel the tremors. Not on the outside, but within. It's not the silence that breaks you. It's the story you attach to it. She doesn't care anymore. She's moved on. She's testing me. She's punishing me. One by one, those thoughts creep in. And slowly, they begin to twist your calm into confusion, your stillness into insecurity. But here's the truth most men never embrace. You don't lose power in silence. You discover it. Because power isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be seen. It doesn't need to be validated or comforted. True power is the man who can sit with himself in the middle of the void and not flinch. He doesn't chase closure. He doesn't need confirmation. He isn't scanning the horizon for her signal to move forward. He is the signal. He's the one who anchors, deep and unmoving. Not because he's numb, but because he's rooted in something unshakable. You see, when she steps away, she's not just waiting to see if you'll chase. She's watching to see if you'll crumble. If your peace depends on her presence, she'll sense it, and she'll never trust it. Women don't want to carry the burden of being your emotional center. They don't want to feel responsible for your identity. They want to witness your strength, not be the reason for it. So don't break. Don't spiral. Don't let silence become the storm that drowns you. Let it be the fire that hardens your steel. The man who doesn't flinch when she pulls away becomes a man she respects, even if she doesn't return. Not because he played a game, Not because he tricked her into coming back, but because in his stillness, he showed her something rare, a man who does not chase peace, because he already is it. And the truth is, even if she never says it out loud, even if she never knocks on your door again, she will remember this version of you. The one who didn't beg, didn't collapse, didn't perform. The one who stood still, and in doing so, stood taller than he ever did when she was watching. It's in that grounded silence where a new man starts to form. Not the one who survived the loss, but the one who builds himself back from the ashes. There comes a point in the silence where the pain doesn't scream anymore. It hums, low and steady. Beneath everything you do, you're not breaking down like you used to, but you're not exactly whole yet either. You're somewhere in the middle, a strange, quiet limbo between who you were with her and who you might become without her. And that space, that unfamiliar space, is sacred if you know how to use it, because this silence is not just the echo of her absence. It's the sound of your old self cracking, the version of you that waited for her replies, the one who checked the timestamps, the one who tailored his energy to her moods. That man is fading, and in his place, something stronger, calmer, and infinitely more valuable is beginning to emerge. This is where you start to rebuild, not for her, but for you. You rebuild the structure that you once let crumble when she became your emotional center. You begin to remember the passions you put on hold, the workouts you skipped, the nights you spent chasing instead of creating. You bring all of it back, not as a distraction, but as a declaration, a message to yourself that says, I am not dependent. I am not broken. I am not waiting. The truth is, every man has a choice in this moment. You can keep replaying what went wrong. You can drown in self-doubt and over-analysis. Or you can step into the silence like it's a dojo and begin the real work. Discipline, focus, reconnection with your mission. Not to punish her, not to impress her, but because somewhere along the way, you forgot what it felt like to be whole on your own. And now, the world is handing you the most powerful opportunity a man can receive, the chance to become complete without needing anyone to fill in the gaps. You don't have to post about it. You don't have to tell your friends. You don't even have to speak it out loud. Just let your actions, your progress, your internal growth speak for you. Because the man who emerges from heartbreak with a clearer mind, a stronger body, and a deeper purpose doesn't need to prove anything. He becomes proof. And the woman who left behind the old version of you, she'll feel it. Even if she never comes back, she'll know that something in you evolved in her absence. And that realization will echo louder than any words ever could. And when that rebuild begins to take root, something unexpected happens. You no longer hold on because you need to. You begin to let go because you've taken control. There's a quiet kind of power in letting go. Not the dramatic kind with slammed doors or block numbers, but the kind that happens in silence when no one's watching. When you stop checking your phone, not because you're angry, but because you stop needing an answer. You stop needing to be chosen. You stop needing to be understood. You stop needing her to fill the space that was never hers to fill in the first place. This is what real detachment looks like. Not apathy, not bitterness, but clarity. The kind of clarity that comes when you finally realize your peace was never supposed to be hers to give, and your worth was never hers to confirm. You see, most men let go with pain, but strong men, they let go with precision. They don't disappear because they're defeated. They walk away because they remembered something far more important than any relationship. Their center, their mission, their sense of inner order that doesn't rise and fall based on a woman's presence. Letting go isn't weakness. It's sovereignty. It's no longer waking up wondering what she's thinking. It's no longer giving your emotional state away to her silence. It's reclaiming that space for yourself, every thought, every breath, every ounce of focus, and putting it back where it belongs, in your hands. You stop chasing closure. You stop replaying conversations. You stop writing imaginary scripts in your head of what you'll say if she ever comes back, because none of that matters anymore. You've chosen a different road now, one that doesn't loop endlessly around her absence, but moves forward with presence. And in this forward motion, something inside you stabilizes. You realize that you were never afraid of losing her. You were afraid of losing who you thought you were with her. But now that you've stood alone, walked alone, healed alone, you know better. You know who you are. And who you are is no longer negotiable. So you let go, not to hurt her, not to teach her a lesson, but to honor yourself. Because holding on to someone who has let go of you is a betrayal of your own evolution. And you've worked too damn hard to come this far, just to hand your progress back for a few moments of validation. Let go, not out of defeat, but out of discipline. And in that letting go, a deeper shift unfolds. You're no longer chasing anything, because now you're becoming someone she can never replace. There's a shift that happens when a man finally stops looking over his shoulder. He no longer walks forward hoping she'll follow. He no longer shapes his life around what might bring her back. He just walks. And in that stride, in that quiet rhythm of self-mastery, he becomes someone different, someone unshakable, someone unforgettable. Not because he chased her, not because he convinced her, but because he outgrew the version of himself that ever needed convincing. You see, women don't remember the men who begged. They don't remember the ones who flooded their inbox when things got quiet. They don't remember the men who panicked in the absence. But they remember the ones who held their ground. They remember the ones who, when left in silence, didn't try to fill it with noise, but used it to build something louder than words. A life, a purpose, a presence. That's what you're becoming now. Not a memory she pities, but a man she respects. A man who, even if she never circles back, left an imprint that's hard to erase. Not because he performed, but because he evolved. You didn't play games. You didn't manipulate. You didn't wait by the door hoping to be chosen again. You chose yourself. And in doing so, you did the one thing most men never do. You became the version of yourself that no longer needs her love to feel whole, and that, ironically, is the version she'll always feel drawn to. Because real attraction isn't about proximity. It's about gravity. And when a man becomes grounded in who he is, rooted in mission, calm in energy, and focused on growth, he stops being just another option. He becomes a standard. So no, you didn't lose her. You didn't fail. You walked through fire and emerged forged. And while she may never say it, may never text it, may never show up again, she knows. Somewhere deep down, she knows you became the man she always hoped you'd be. Only now, you no longer need her to be that man. So where does that leave you? Not behind, not broken, but standing at the edge of a new chapter. One that doesn't begin with a return, but with your rebirth. If you made it this far, let me say this. Not as a voice in a video, but as a man speaking to another man across silence, heartbreak, and a hard-earned wisdom that only distance can bring. You didn't lose her. You lost a version of yourself that thought she was the answer to everything. And in that loss, you found something far more valuable. You found the strength to stand alone, the courage to stop chasing what was never meant to define you, the discipline to hold the line when everything in you wanted to break, and the clarity to see that sometimes the greatest love story isn't the one where she comes back. It's the one where you come back to yourself. The truth is, life is going to test your silence more than your speeches. And the kind of man who passes that test, the one who doesn't panic, doesn't fold, doesn't flinch, is the kind of man the world quietly watches and deeply respects. You don't need to make noise to be remembered. You just need to become so steady, so certain, so deeply aligned with your path that your absence becomes more powerful than most people's presence. And if this message spoke to something in you, if it stirred that quiet, grounded, masculine fire that you know has been waiting to rise, then I invite you to keep walking this journey with us. Hit subscribe, not because you're looking for validation, but because you're building a mindset, one built on self-respect, emotional mastery, and inner strength. This channel isn't here to give you tricks or pickup lines. It's here to remind you that everything you're searching for already lives inside you. Sometimes it just takes the silence to hear it. You're not broken. You're becoming. And she might never say out loud, but the man you are now, she'll feel that for a long, long time. So walk forward, brother. Head high, heart steady. And remember, your power was never in her hands. It was always in yours.